Welcome to another behind the scenes video where I show how I make my music, and this time it's about the ripple effect theme, the latest series on my channel as I'm speaking these words. And unlike my single player series, which is all about relaxing and slowly building a world or a story around the world, the ripple effect is more about being spontaneous, having fun. A lot more is happening, more action. So I wanted that to be reflected in the music. And I took inspiration from movies like Snatch, the intro credits from Snatch, or the post credits in Tropic Thunder, if you have seen those movies. Great movies. When a kind of action-packed footage suddenly zooms in and freezes and displays a name on a character or an actor. So I wanted to do that for my intro, just a tiny bit simpler, perhaps. But I wanted to see myself running, and then the video footage would zoom up and freeze and then display some text. So I moved back and forth to this software, which is Logic Pro X, which I mostly use for making my music. It's a great starting point for any project, I think. And the video footage to get the timing right, get the length of every clip right. So I kind of made some test recordings, and then I edited the music to that and went back and forth. And I usually try to make all my music from scratch as much as possible, but this time I looked around in the loops here. These are all free Apple loops that you can use, and I found one called the Bongo Classic Break. Sounds like this. Whew. Pretty nice, huh? So I used that as kind of a starting point, and I divided it into two different tracks. Let's see if I can fit the EQ windows in here. The first one, I have cut the low end, as you can see here, so you cannot hear the bass drum as clearly. And then the other track, it's the opposite. I have reinforced the bass frequencies. Let's solo this. It sounds like this. You might need headphones to hear this. It's also actually an guitar amp to make it pop a little more. I actually use these amplifiers a lot on other instruments than guitars. So without it, sounds like this, even more muddy, and when you add it, kind of pops a little more. I like that. So it starts with just the first one, the first version, and then when we get here to bar 5, you can notice the bass drum popping. And I found one more loop. That's the end of the cheating then. But this tambourine, I thought that fitted as well. And when I showed this to my son, my youngest son, he thought something is missing. You need finger snap. And that was a great idea. So I recorded myself snapping my fingers. It's 2 fingers in each track here, so it's 4 fingers in total. Pretty nice. Let's see if we can... So this is the percussion section. And you might notice something happening here in the end, that the sound is a little different. Something is happening, and that is a very nice application, free as well, called what's it called? It's made by iZotope. It's just called Vinyl. Vinyl? I think it's how you pronounce it in English. iZotope Vinyl. So if you're into music and you want to have something sound like it's being played from an LP player, this is a great tool. And I have made other tracks using this software. You can add noise, kind of dust. Well, it's a little more complicated because you have more parameters to change here. But in this case, I just used this one. Kind of resembles from which year the LP record is from. So if you look down here now, you see it's changing, and it's this this wheel here going down. If I move this slowly, you can see it changes, and that gives a cool effect. Watch here now. And then back. So I'm using this in the end as well, but we'll get back to this later. So let's see what's more here in the intro. We have the trombones. This is actually me playing 4 different voices. Just a nice fall there. So that's it for the intro when I'm kind of running. You can listen to everything up to the melody. And then it's time for the melody, the actual theme. It's this part here, and that's when the ripple effect logo is shown and so on. So we have the melody in these 3 instruments: flute, clarinet, trumpet. Sounds like this. Kind of a, you know, sounds old. I was a little inspired actually by the music Freddy likes to use, and other people as well. The Minecraft YouTuber Mambo Jumbo also have a theme song which uses kind of an orchestra sample and then adding a more modern beat on it. So that's something I kind of try to do here as well. Now this clarinet number 2 it's not very much to listen to if you listen to it by itself. Sounds like this, almost as if someone is not very good at playing. But if you add that to the other melody instruments, it gets a lot thicker. Almost sounds like it's even more instruments. So it's a little nice trick. And then we have the trombones, which are kind of answering the melody. It's a kind of call and response. And it's me playing again. A little bluesy touch there. And here I've actually used that vinyl software again and pulled it all the way down. It had the best sound, I thought. Trombones can be a little muddy if you don't change it compared to these instruments. So they sound like this together. Yeah, and they all play the last note together. So if we can do like this instead. Now it's so many instruments soloed. If we mute instead, we have heard all of this earlier. So then I thought, okay, maybe I don't want a bass because the drums are so bassy. I kind of like keeping it clean down there, so it's no competition about the bass frequencies. So I added this guitar instead and kept it a little brighter. Also add to the retro feeling. And then to get a little more luxury flair of the song, we have the violins here. Also, it's not, you almost can't hear them. Sounds like this. See if we can pull all three of them up here. So it's just C sharp minor chord, but instead of see if I can show you. Here is I could just have a chord lying like this, but what you often do is have the C sharp moving down in half steps instead. I'm sure you recognize this movement. So it makes a little melody on top here. And then fades out in this chord. And if you didn't realize, it's kind of the melody doing the same thing. If we can add the flute, for instance. It's kind of the same, but to give it a little more variation, the violin starts one note higher. So together you can hear it's kind of the same. And in all of this noise that is produced, you barely can hear the string section, but you will notice if it's gone. So this is how it sounds without them. And when they are there, it sounds like this. so it gets a little thicker, a little richer in the texture. And this is the end of the theme itself, but then I added this little section that is playing when I start to talk, when I welcome the viewer to the episode and so on. And then I've cranked the vinyl player all the way down to let's go forward here. Now it's down to 1930. It's supposed to be sounding like it's playing from a really old player. And if you pull the volume down, as I do in my episodes, it sounds like it's the same music we've just heard, but it's played from, from a radio a little further away or something. Gives a nice touch. Right? Like you're on the beach and you hear music from a bit away or something. Yeah, but I think that's it. Did I forget something? No, that's it, I think. So I hope you will enjoy the music even more when you see my next episode from the Ripple Effect server. So thank you for watching this video, and I'll see you next time.